Everyone who watches Wednesday is fascinated by her. Her sharp wit, relentless sarcasm, and her aversion to anything that even resembles an emotion. She's the perfect anti-heroine, the Gothic ideal for a generation that embraces the bizarre. But what most people don't realize is that her story isn't about solving a simple mystery. This story, at its most profound essence, is a manual on the most terrifying and most important journey in human psychology. A journey that most of us avoid at all costs. The journey to become a whole person. The journey to wholeness. To truly understand the depth of Wednesday Addams, we have to dive into the work of one of history's greatest psychiatrists, Carl Jung. Jung believed that we are all born incomplete and our life's purpose is individuation, the process of becoming our most authentic and complete self. It's a terrifying journey because it forces us to confront the darkest, most repressed parts of ourselves. In this video, you'll discover that Wednesday's story is, in fact, the perfect representation of this process.
You will see that every character, every event, and every monster in Wednesday is not by chance. Each is a symbol, and that, in the end, the true victory is not unmasking the monster in the woods, but unmasking the monster that hides within our own psyche. Prepare to watch Wednesday in a way you've never seen before. What you are about to discover may change how you think about yourself and your own personal growth. At the beginning of the series, Wednesday is the definition of a fragmented soul. She is an impenetrable fortress built against any kind of vulnerability. Her aversion to emotions, friendship, and physical contact is not just a personality quirk, it's a defense mechanism. She rejects the world so she doesn't have to be rejected by it. Her psychological armor is so thick that she has completely disconnected from her anima, the emotional, sensitive, and intuitive part of her psyche. Her forced arrival at Nevermore is not a punishment. It's the starting point of her journey. The universe, or her subconscious, is forcing her to confront what she has denied in herself her entire life. The Gothic architecture and atmosphere of Nevermore, echoing the poetry of Edgar Allan Poe, are not just aesthetic choices. The school is a symbol of her own subconscious. A place where darkness and mysteries lie hidden, waiting to be explored. It's the ideal environment for her psyche to be challenged to evolve. What she hates on the outside is just a reflection of what she refuses to accept on the inside. Her fight against the school and its inhabitants is, in truth, a battle against her own mind. For Carl Jung, the shadow isn't just our evil side. It's the part of us that our conscious mind rejects and hides. The shadow holds our primitive impulses, our fears, and in many cases, our deepest feelings. For most people, the shadow hides anger or jealousy. But for Wednesday, her shadow is the exact opposite. Her need for affection, her vulnerability, and her desire for friendship. It's the side of her that is normal, which she rejects for being weak and sentimental.
Wednesday spends most of the series fighting against her shadow. Her obsession with being a lone detective, her distrust of everyone, and her sharp sarcasm are her weapons to keep that shadow at bay. But every event in the series pushes her to confront it. Pay close attention to the small details. When her brother, Pugsley, is attacked, her act of vengeance isn't just an act of cruelty. It's her twisted way of expressing concern and affection. She cares, but doesn't know how to show it, so she uses revenge as a substitute. It's a glimpse of her shadow, the part she works so hard to hide. The same happens when she meets Eugene, the young beekeeper. Her initial attitude is one of contempt, but over time, she develops genuine concern for his safety. She is drawn to him because her subconscious is guiding her toward a connection to integrate that part of herself. And when he is attacked, the rage she feels isn't from losing a source of information. It's a feeling of betrayal and sadness that she, once again, doesn't know how to process.
Notice, too, her hesitation to harm Xavier, despite her suspicions of him. This isn't because of some forbidden love, but an unconscious acknowledgement of her own humanity. Her eventual acceptance of help from Thing, Enid, and even Pugsley aren't just convenient plot points. Each of these gestures, each time she allows herself to feel or express an ounce of concern, is a brick falling from her emotional fortress. You could even argue that her relationship with the monster in the woods is an external manifestation of her internal struggle to confront her own monstrous and repressed side. If Wednesday is darkness and emotional denial, Enid is light, rainbows, and emotion. She isn't just a side character. She is Wednesday's Anima, the personification of the feminine, emotional, and intuitive part of her psyche that has been suppressed for so long. Jung believed the anima is the bridge to the unconscious, and the path to its integration is through relationship. This is exactly what the relationship between the two represents.
Their friendship is the central axis of Wednesday's transformation. At first, she completely rejects Enid. The contrast between their sides of the room isn't just a visual gag, it's a representation of her fragmented psyche. Wednesday's dark, closed-off and controlled side versus Enid's colorful, open and vulnerable side. Her subconscious knows that she needs to integrate this energy to become whole, but her conscious ego resists. The forced interaction in their room, Enid's unwavering loyalty, and her constant optimism slowly chip away at Wednesday's defenses. Look at the dance scene. Wednesday's expression isn't of someone having a fun night out. It's a look of someone experiencing something new and strange, a glimpse of her light side. Her smile isn't a smile of joy. It's the smile of someone accepting a part of herself for the first time. The upbeat music, the social dancing, everything she hates is being, without her realizing it, integrated into her psyche.
The most symbolic moment of the series happens when Enid, after finally wolfing out, saves Wednesday's life. Enid's transformation isn't just a heroic feat, it's proof that accepting her most instinctive and wild nature, her own shadow, makes her stronger. Her journey of acceptance mirrors Wednesday's, but the climax, the moment of Wednesday's wholeness, is their final hug. It's the first time Wednesday wordlessly accepts her own need for friendship and her own vulnerability. Her emotional shadow is finally accepted and integrated, allowing her to become, for the first time, a more complete person. The story of Tyler Galpin is the perfect contrast to Wednesday's journey. While Wednesday is fighting to integrate her shadow, Tyler has completely failed. He is the tragic example of what happens when the shadow, the part we hide and deny, is not confronted and instead takes over.
Tyler is introduced as the nice guy, a potential love interest for Wednesday. He is the archetype of the trustworthy friend, the safe haven. But this is just his persona, the social mask he wears to fit in and hide his true nature. However, his real shadow, the hide, is buried so deeply that he doesn't even realize that he and the monster are the same person. The relationship between Tyler and Wednesday isn't just a love triangle, it's a deep psychological game.
Wednesday's initial attraction to Tyler and her subsequent distrust are a manifestation of her own internal struggle with her shadow. She projects her own duality onto him, her struggle with her darker side. Her subconscious knows he's hiding a secret because her own mind is hiding one. The revelation that Tyler is the Hyde is not just a plot twist. It is the turning point of his own journey of individuation, or, in this case, its failure. The Hyde is Tyler's shadow completely unleashed and controlled by an external force, Miss Thornhill. He did not integrate his dark side. His dark side consumed him. When he attacks the therapist, it's not just the monster acting, it's Tyler. His mind, having failed to accept and confront its shadow, became its prisoner. His story serves as a warning to Wednesday. Look at what can happen if you don't confront your own shadow. If you don't integrate it, it will control you and use you for its own ends.
Tyler is a mirror. At first, Wednesday sees a more social and normal version of herself in him, which attracts her. But in the end, when he's revealed, she sees what could have happened if she didn't have the courage to face her own demons. Her fight against him isn't just a physical one. It's a final battle against her own shadow, a battle that she, unlike Tyler, is determined to win to achieve wholeness. Jungian psychology is not limited to the main characters. Every character in Wednesday represents a universal archetype, a pattern of behavior that exists in humanity's collective unconscious. They are not just helpers or antagonists, but mirrors that reflect Wednesday's journey. Principal Weems, she is the archetype of the wise mother. At first, she seems like an authoritarian and cold figure, but she represents the wisdom and protection that Wednesday needs to navigate her journey. She is the guardian of the school, the sacred place of Wednesday's individuation. Her death in the end is symbolic. Wednesday accepts her own strength and becomes her own guide, no longer needing the protection of an authority figure.
Xavier Thorpe is the archetype of the wounded lover and the solitary artist. His attraction to Wednesday and his constant frustration with her coldness are not just a love triangle. They represent vulnerability and the capacity to be hurt, something Wednesday rejects. His art is his way of expressing himself, of giving voice to his unconscious and his fears. His journey, filled with rejection and injustice, serves to highlight the complexity of human relationships and the pain that Wednesday, in her quest for solitude, avoids. Eugene Ottinger. He is the archetype of the innocent. He represents the purity and innocence that Wednesday left behind. His passion for bees and his altruistic nature are a reminder to Wednesday that not everything in life is somber. He acts as a moral lighthouse, guiding her toward a more complete and compassionate version of herself. His attack is the moment when Wednesday's journey becomes more than just about herself. It's about protecting the innocence that she so much represses in her life. Thing isn't just a family member. He is the physical representation of Wednesday's intuition, her personal guide. He is always there to help her, to warn her of dangers, and to connect her to her own unconscious. He doesn't speak, but his actions are the voice of the subconscious, showing Wednesday the right path when her logical and rational side fails. Thing is the part of her that remains loyal, that holds ancestral knowledge, and that keeps her from getting lost in her own darkness. The world of Wednesday is filled with symbolism that reinforces the journey of individuation. Jung believed that symbols are the language of the unconscious, and the series speaks this language fluently. Every object, every place, and every event has a meaning that goes far beyond the surface.
Nevermore Academy. The school is not just a Gothic backdrop. It is a symbol of the self, the totality of the psyche. It's the place where all parts of oneself are accepted. Werewolves, sirens, vampires, gorgons. At first, Wednesday just wants to escape this place. Her escape represents her attempt to avoid her own wholeness, to not accept her monstrous or emotional parts. However, she ends up fighting to save it, defending the place that, in the end, is helping her find herself. The psychic visions. The visions that Wednesday has are not just a psychic power. They are her unconscious trying to communicate with her, to give her clues and to guide her. It is her intuition, the part of her psyche that she used to ignore in favor of logic, that helps her solve the mystery. The visions are the bridge between her conscious mind and her subconscious, a sign that her psyche is opening up and accepting information from sources she once rejected. The monster, Hyde, the creature that haunts the Nevermore woods, is the physical representation of the shadow. It's the repressed, terrifying and violent part that Tyler hid even from himself. The fight against the Hyde is not just an action climax. It's Wednesday confronting her own potential for destruction, her own darkness. By defeating the monster, she is not just saving the school, she is asserting control over her own shadow, a crucial victory in her journey to wholeness. Objects and places. Every element of the series has a psychological purpose. The cello, not just an instrument, it's her way of expressing her melancholy. Her music reflects the dark, complex beauty of her soul, giving voice to feelings she can't verbalize. The typewriter symbolizes her logical and rational mind. Her detective work is her way of making sense of the chaos of the world. The family crypt represents her heritage, the expectations of the Addams family, and the weight of her past. Her journey is about finding her own path instead of following the one that was laid out for her. Miss Thornhill, Laurel Gates, her false identity symbolizes the masks that people wear to hide their evil intentions. She is a projected shadow, the true face of the darkness that Wednesday must unmask.
All these symbols together form a map of the human mind. Wednesday is, in the end, a story about how the acceptance of all parts of ourselves, the light and the shadow, is the only path to wholeness and true freedom. Wednesday Addams' journey from beginning to end is a masterclass in profound psychology. She did not change to become someone else, as most people try to do in life. On the contrary, she integrated the parts of herself that she rejected. She didn't stop being gothic and sarcastic, but she accepted her need for friendship and vulnerability. She confronted her shadow, her fears of affection, and accepted her anima, her emotion. By the end of the series, the Wednesday we see is the most complete version of herself. Her story is a reminder that our greatest challenge in life is not to fight the world, but to fight to become our own most authentic and complete selves. It's a reminder that true strength is not in solitude, but in the courage to accept and integrate every part of you, even the ones you hate or are ashamed of.
Her story is proof that light and darkness are not opposites, but two sides of the same coin.
Wednesday did not become normal in the end. She became whole. Her journey is an inspiration for all of us to begin our own journey of individuation, to explore the dark corners of our psyche and integrate the parts of ourselves that we hide from the world, so that we can live more authentic and more complete lives. If this analysis opened your eyes to the deeper side of Wednesday, leave a like so I know you want more content like this. And now, I want your opinion. In the comments, tell me what other movie or series would you like me to analyze through the lens of profound psychology. Your suggestion could be the topic of my next video. And if you're passionate about psychology, about understanding the human mind, or simply about unraveling the mysteries hidden in pop culture, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Don't miss the next analysis. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.